Welcome everyone to the 209 Journey podcast. I'm your host, Luis. And before I introduce my guest tonight, I do want to remind you all, if you have not followed the 209 Journey Facebook page and Instagram page, go ahead and give it a follow. You can find it at the 209 Journey. And you can also visit the 209journey.com to listen to the show and also to watch the episodes if you're currently watching on YouTube or Facebook. On the website, it's the YouTube feed that is on there, but it's just an easier way for you guys to be able to watch the videos on there on one site. And all the videos that I've posted on there are on there all the way to the past, even before I had a website. So go ahead and check it out. Same goes for the episodes. If you want to go back to the earlier ones, they're all on the website. They've all been posted on there. And generally, the website is the first place to actually see episodes when they get posted. So more the reason to go check it out on there. Again, the 209journey.com. You can also contact me on there. I've gotten a few contact messages already. If you have any questions, if you have maybe future guests, or maybe you yourself feel like you want to be a guest on the show, that's your place to go ahead and let me know. You can also record a voicemail if you'd like to record a voicemail. So you have two different options on there. Feel free to use them. Again, it's on the website, the209journey.com. So in today's podcast episode, we're going back to a format that I haven't had in a while, which is actually have two guests on a podcast episode, because I am going to be interviewing Alfredo Cazarez and Christian Perez. Both of them are founders of 209 Run Club. So it'll be really awesome to talk to them about how the running club got started and all the things that they have going on here. This is the second time that we're doing a running club interview. If you guys haven't heard the first one that I did a few months ago, go ahead and check out the past episodes, and you can actually find that one. It was recorded a few months ago, but it's been a while. But you guys can go back and check that out as well. But let me go ahead and introduce here on the podcast Alfredo Cazarez and Christian Perez. And since we're also on video, I'm actually going to be adding each of you individually, so that way you don't answer at the same time. But let's welcome Alfredo Cazarez to the podcast. How's it going, man? Welcome.
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me, Luis. I did see that podcast with Mile Chasers, Freddie, which I'll get more into. But we got a lot of inspiration from what they're doing for our run club. So it was awesome to see that you interviewed them.
Yeah, hey, that's perfect. That's what I always say anytime I talk to anyone in one city that might be more focused on like one city, right? It's like hopefully people from the surrounding cities can actually get some inspiration and, start a club, start a business, start whatever, right? But it's just so we can have more and more, places around the 209 that cater to people from maybe both counties, right? Sometimes it's a little ways out to go and run in like Stockton, right? If you live in like Merced.
Yeah, especially for those early morning runs too.
Oh yeah,
extra 30 minutes early, 45 minutes early.
Especially in the winter with how foggy it gets here in the valley, right?
No, yeah, I agree.
All right, well, we have another guest as well, Christian Perez, also a co-founder here of 209 Run Club. Welcome, Christian. How's it going?
Good. Thank you for having me as well. I also checked out that podcast with Freddie from Mile Chasers just to kind of prepare. And yeah, thanks for having us on. I really like what you're doing with the podcast and getting kind of a name out for us people in the Valley. I feel like we're super underrepresented. So I think it's awesome.
Yeah, hey, that's the whole reason why I started this podcast, is to give you guys that platform and for people to find out more about what's going on, and then hopefully get you guys more members. I want to join as well because I'm a local. I'm closer to you guys than to Freddie's Mile Chasers, unfortunately. So I'm really glad that you guys have this going on here for all of those of us who maybe don't want to drive to Stockton all the time. And, we already mentioned it, right? The weather in the winter and getting up early, it's much more convenient to drive 10, 15 minutes than to drive a ways out. So cool stuff. All right. Well, you guys were telling me before we started recording that both of you kind of ended up in like the same city, right? Both of you ended up in Sherlock. Both of you, or at least Christian, you were born in Modesto. Alfredo, you moved to Southside Modesto. But I want to know you guys' story first. Let's go ahead and go with you, Christian. So you were born in Modesto, and then you moved to Sherlock. Tell me what it's been like and just what it was like to grow up in Modesto and Sherlock.
So I was just born in Modesto, but I've lived in Turlock my entire life. I pretty much went to school on one street, Christopherson, my entire life. I went to school at Dennis Earl, Pittman High School, and then Stan State. So I've been here as long as I can remember. I have a soccer background, so that's kind of cool that we have that in common. And I've always, I love the culture, Mexican heritage. So, always felt really connected to this area just because, family and just how everything has always been so close. And I feel like there's some stuff that we're lacking. So I know with the run club, and I feel like it was one of those things where I could take some of my background to kind of help boost the community involvement. My background, so I work in the medical field, and then I have a bachelor's in kinesiology. So I've always been kind of into the athletics side. And so this was like a good way for me I feel, to give back to the community as well as showcase like my abilities.
Yeah, no, that's really awesome. I mean, Sherlock, they've got more soccer going on for sure. I had Michael Rocha from Academica a long time ago, the early episodes too on here, and it's just always great to see how much more the soccer scene is growing there and the complexes that they have, right, as well. And just it's great when we're seeing players that are moving on too. I mean, the last interview that I had two people on, it was actually Hayden Sargis, right? And it just comes to mind because you mentioned Sherlock and soccer, and he was with his dad, who was also his coach at one point. So it's just great to see, all the things going on there and people, getting into athletics. I mean, you have Kaepernick as well, right? Just to mention another sport, another guy there in the athletics department. So yeah, it's good to see Sherlock, have all that going on.
Yeah, definitely. And funny, I forgot to even mention, but me and Alfredo have also played soccer together on the same team a few times and also against each other. So it's soccer's never really far from what we do. So always keep that in mind.
Oh, that's cool, right? Together and against. Do you prefer playing against? I'm sure, right?
He's good to have on the team.
Well, now let's go to you, Alfredo, too. Again, I know you moved to Southside Modesto. You were raised there. So just tell me more about, what that was like. And then when you did the move to Sherlock to go be in Christianstown.
Yeah. So, I mean, I was actually born in Santa Clara. So we lived out there in apartments. And then I actually lived in a garage in Hayward until I was about 6 years old. Luckily, my dad was able to find a house in Southside Modesto. That's really all I ever knew growing up. I never heard about Turlock until maybe I was like a junior in high school. We had that little secluded town, which was Southside Modesto. You have all the taco trucks. You have the flea market. I actually lived close to the John Deere area. So my friends and I would always go to that Jack in the Box right there. But for a long time, that was really all I knew. Moving to Turlock was a little bit of a culture shock. It was a little bit different. You have the university right there. You have all these different Walmarts close to each other. You have Target. But I don't know. It was amazing. It was a great time. I think moving to Turlock made me meet some friends that I wouldn't have met if I would have stayed in Modesto. So I'm grateful that I chose to go to Stan State for college. I'm grateful that I, took the leap to move out with some friends and make those relationships. Christian is one of them. I met him at Stan State. Just have those relationships that will follow you along for life and make good memories like the ones that we're making with 209 Run Club. So
how did you guys meet? Was it through like soccer or?
We were actually in the same fraternity.
Oh, okay. Oh, nice. Which one?
Theta Chi.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was with a different one too. So I was like, I wonder if you guys are. Yeah, I was with the Teaks, and then I had to leave there. But yeah, that's really awesome. I mean, I always say you just never know who you're gonna meet, where you're gonna start, and all that. And I'm glad that you guys had the background and understood, right, that like running is really important, but not just I think for the like physical health, but also mental health, right? I mean, I don't know if you guys, and this kind of is a good segue to getting into running. But before we talk about how the club was started, just tell me like what got you guys into running? Like when did you get into that? And let's go with Christian first. Yeah, I guess we're going back and forth there.
So some of my background, so I used to do a lot of Spartan races back in college. And part of Spartan is, I always thought it was just a bunch of cool obstacles. But the more I got into it, I realized you have to be a really good runner if you're going to even try to, be kind of competitive, since it's a lot of mountain running. So I would do a lot of running for training, and it's still caught on. And I feel like with soccer, and it's all kind of the same. So running is so versatile. I feel like it helps you with a lot of different sports. And what I've always liked about it is, no matter what your background is, running usually is what you do for your sport.
Yeah, no, that's true. I don't think, I mean, maybe golf, right? But even then, you probably still have to train, right? And
Lots of the cart.
yeah. How about you, Alfredo? What got you into running?
So I actually hated running. I never did cross country, never did track. But maybe about 3 or 4 years ago during COVID, I got COVID. I got it pretty bad. I got to the point where I felt like somebody was stabbing my lungs. And I had to go through maybe like a month of recovery of just not doing anything at all. And as I sat there recovering, I was thinking to myself, like, once I fully recover, I have to take advantage of, having healthy lungs. So as soon as I recovered and I was ready to go, I just dedicated myself to running. My first run, I ran 1 mile. I remember the time. I finished it in about 14 minutes and 46 seconds. It was brutal. It was hard. It was not fun. I wanted to quit right away, but I stuck with it, and I learned a lot of things along the way. My first year into running, I started picking up the pace pretty quickly, but I wasn't taking care of myself. I didn't know what to eat. I didn't know that strength training is a big component of it. And I was injuring my knees. I was injuring my ankles, my Achilles, any injury you can think of, I had it. So I took maybe 6 months off and didn't like running again. And then I picked it up again, and I started looking at videos and, tips on what to strengthen. I just started stretching when I started the run club. So I'm not going to say I started stretching, but I started doing strength training, and I stopped getting injured, and I just fell in love with it again. And I feel like running is one of those things where you see progress quickly if you stay on it consistently. I played soccer my whole life since I was 6 years old, and I felt like I was, decently good at one point, but I feel like I plateaued. With running, I feel like I'm constantly improving every day. There's some days where there's a dip and you feel like you're not doing well, but the next day you feel great. So it's just that quick progress that you just fall in love with. That's what got me into running.
Wow. Yeah, opposite stories, but it's really awesome, right, for people to hear that, because I got into running as well, and I was just like you, right? I just hated running.
Mm-hmm.
That's the last thing you wanted to do too, but it just hopefully inspires anyone who's listening now who's like, yeah, that's not my thing, to maybe consider it, right? Even like you said, you start off doing a mile, you do 14 minutes, but then it's nice to see that improvement over time, right? To keep timing yourself and keep seeing like, oh, wow, I just did this, and doing races and all that. So that actually brings me to something else too. Did you guys do any races before the run club started, or were races not really your thing quite yet?
You want to answer that one first, Christian? I'm going to go first.
So as far as I've done races before, so my family is actually kind of big on running too. So we've always been big on the Modesto Marathon, and that's the big local marathon, at least close to us here in the 209. And that one, it's pretty popular because it's mostly flat, except for Mount Modesto, which I think is the Briggsmore overpass. But so it's very popular with a lot of the run community. But we've always done it, and this last year, we actually decided to start the club during our training for the most recent Modesto Marathon. So I've always been kind of in with races. And then Alfredo could probably answer how many races he's done.
Yeah, I've done 3 halves total, and I actually ran my first full marathon on Cinco de Mayo in Orange County. My first half marathon was during that period where I wasn't strength training. So I finished my first half in like 2 hours and 15 minutes with a very, very swollen left knee. But this last marathon that I ran, I think it was 2 months into when we started the run club. And I don't know, I feel like it's just been like a different kind of inspiration. Like, I feel like the marathon just flew by, but there was moments where I was thinking to myself, like, man, I just want to stop. But I was like, how am I going to tell the people in the run club that I'm trying to motivate that I quit halfway? So it was an inspiration. So I feel like that's been the difference between running races before the run club and after the run club.
Yeah, no, it's the power of having support, having that system, and that's why I think it's much different when you just train by yourself than actually with others, right? And joining the club and all that. And it's the first time that I hear it referred to as Mount Modesto, by the way. And I actually ran the Modesto Marathon. I did the half marathon this year, so I know exactly what you mean, Alfredo, when you say that, like. Like you were feeling kind of down after like one of those half marathons, because I was there, and I think I blame it on Mount Modesto for taking a toll on me when I was going back, because I barely finished. But it's one of those times, where you're trying to like sprint the last, I don't know, 500 feet, and then you're like, your feet start giving up on you, but you're like, I'm not gonna end it just walking, right?
Yeah, exactly. Another fun run too that I like to do. Mile Chasers actually started doing the Stockton Sleigh every December, I think like maybe 2 or 3 years ago. So that one's always a fun one. They run around the Stockton Arena. It's like a 5K and a 10K.
Oh yeah, I think Freddie mentioned it at some point too in the interview, and I actually wanted to do that one, but it just didn't end up working out. But I did the other one, the Thanksgiving one, which I'm blanking on the name right now, but the one that they do every year, or they've done it I think for like 2 or 3 years now.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, let's go ahead and get into how the running club started. So, Christian, if you want to go first, and then Alfredo, feel free to also mention anything you'd like.
Well, like most things, I guess during the pandemic, it all started with the DM. I was just kind of sitting, and I was so I've been in school for training for my job, and I was just kind of like, I need something creative, I want something active, and I was just having these like feelings. I've been wanting to do something, and sure enough, Alfredo was like, "Hey, do you want to start a run club?" And I was like, "Yes." So literally, it was like he knew what I was thinking, and that's literally how it started. And then from there, we're like, all right, let's make an Instagram. He has a better social media background than I do, and so I feel like the things I was lacking, he could make up for, and then I'm good with support. So I feel like from there, it took off.
I feel like Christian's selling himself short. He makes those the promo videos; those always get traction. It's a 50-50 effort with us. But yeah, I sent him the DM. He told me that he was thinking about it too. But I mean, personally, for me, what kind of got me started with the idea was I was posting on my stories a lot whenever I would go run. And I was just doing it more of like as an accountability thing for myself. And people started engaging with them, and they were asking me, "Oh, how do you like increase your runs? How do you do this? How do you do that?" And I was getting a lot of questions, and a thought that came to me was, what if like we create a community where everyone could have different kinds of opinions on those questions and different levels of expertise? Because the one thing that you always have to remember with running is that you can always help someone, and someone can always help you. Like, unless you're Kipchoge and you're top of the top, then you can always take advice from somebody. So that's kind of why I wanted to do it, and why the idea popped in my head about, going forward with it.
Yeah, no, helping each other is always a great thing, right? Because I think no one's really an expert. I feel like everyone's always got something to learn, even in the world of running too, I would say. But yeah, no, it's amazing what a DM does. I mean, I think back to podcasts I started, and that's how you just ask people, "Hey, you want to be on the show?" Or I mean, that's how I got you guys. That's how I've invited other people on the podcast, and so I'm glad it helps connect people and get things started too. Just like you guys were able to start this, back in March of this year, correct? Right? Is when you guys got it started.
March 9th was the first one. Before we switch to another subject though, I do want to give a huge shout out to our ambassadors. I said 50-50 with me and Christian, but it's more of, I don't even want to know how to do the percentages, because they all do a lot. It's Melissa, Natalie, Stephanie, Luis. Who am I missing, Christian?
I'm blanking. I thought you weren't going to stop.
I wrote the names down. I don't want to forget any of them, but Alexis does our 5 a.m. run. So, every single one of them, I'm going to name them again. It's Melissa, Miramar, Alexis, Natalie, Stephanie, and Lise. So without them, we wouldn't be able to do as much as we do. We currently have those Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, and Saturday runs, and we do a lot of collabs. So, without their support, we wouldn't be where we are.
And on that note, sorry.
Oh yeah, no, you can go. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess on that note too, also as far as support goes, big shout out to the Mile Chasers. They actually helped us kind of kickstart where I feel like we had like a lot of growth. They were super nice, and like Alfredo said, someone can always help you. And they were like more than willing, super supportive, and they were like, "Hey, people have been wanting to run in your guys' area for a while, and we just, we said sorry, we're so far away from you guys." So they're like, "Well, we'd be happy to send people that live by you your way." And they helped us get started. And so shout out the Mile Chasers. They're awesome. They're a cool group of guys and gals.
Yeah. Well, I'm really glad to hear that too. I mean, I met Freddie last year, but I haven't seen him in a while. So I'm sure he probably would have recommended the same thing too, because I didn't get the chance to go to one of their meetings too. But, I'm glad that, they realized that there was that need, and that, they backed you guys up and helped you guys, kind of get started, and just maybe, be there as a good advice, right, of what you need, and kind of like an unofficial chapter of sorts, right? Of there. So it's nice to see that involvement with the community between both counties too, and all that. But you guys talked about having runs, especially those 5 a.m. runs that are like so early. But just tell me more about some of those recurring runs. Like, where do you guys go? Do you guys meet at different places? Like, just let people know like what goes down.
Yeah.
So we always had the idea of having regular runs. Our first couple runs were actually just like a Saturday once a month or twice a month. But we committed to doing every Tuesday, Thursday. And we do Tuesdays in MJC track and Thursdays at Stan State. And then our Saturdays alternate. Alexis recently started her 5:30 a.m.s at Mary Grogan Park. And they've just kind of come from the needs of our runners. And, we like to switch it up. Not everybody comes to every day, and every group on every day can be completely different, or a combination of everybody. So I like having like people that are committed to like a day, and we have a lot of regulars, and it keeps you motivated to wanting to keep doing the every week on the same day, because people just keep coming back, and it just it makes me feel good, and I'm sure it makes them feel good. We're all doing something positive.
Yeah, no, it's a good routine to have, right? It's like you put it in the calendar, and then you kind of know what to expect. So I'm glad that you guys have a good variety. I feel like Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, it'll fit with everyone's schedule, to go with at least, one of those days there. Now, are they all like early runs? Like, do you guys ever do like a little later for those people who maybe, or like, I want to sleep a little more, but, I still want to run in the morning, but maybe not too early?
So right now we just have the Tuesday ones at 7 p.m., Wednesday 5:30, Thursday 7 p.m., and then Saturday we just changed it to 8 a.m. So I feel like 8 a.m. is like that sweet spot where you don't have to wake up too early, and then you're done early enough to where you still have your Saturday. So that's kind of where we're at right now.
Yeah, plus weather-wise too. Yeah. Just mentioning that, yeah, I'm like, oh, you guys know how it is today and tomorrow.
Yeah, that's why we push back Tuesdays and Thursdays to 7, and we're doing them at 6.
So usually when it gets this hot, do you guys opt to go to the gym as well and do treadmill, or like what do you guys do? Because that's what I used to do.
I do not like the treadmill at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about you, Christian?
Well, we've been running. I mean, I think the first hottest week, we ran 3 days in a row over 100 degrees, and that was the Fleet Feet run. So we committed to showing up to their event, and I think it was like 104 or 5 that day. And we brought out like, there must have been, I don't know how many people, maybe like at least 150 people out there, maybe a little less. It was a big event, and people just kept coming out. So I know for our runs that week, I brought waters, and so I try to do that. If it's going to be hot, I'll bring fresh cold waters for everybody, just to make sure everyone stays healthy and hydrated. We don't want anybody passing out.
Yeah, no, not that. It's like bring out the liquid IV as well while you're at it, right? Because that's, well, but I mean, I'm glad to hear that, right? Because it gets really hot, but it just shows you that people are really passionate, right? They really want to go out and run, and they're not going to let the sun get in between, what was already planned, especially if it's an event that's been planned way in advance. Like it just happens, right? You don't know how it's going to be like, but I'm sure it started early, right? It wasn't like a like a late run.
Oh no, that one was a late run.
Oh, it was a late run. Oh,
Yeah, it was like almost 110 that day too.
oh, wow.
But it was Global Running Day, so.
Oh yeah, yeah. Can't postpone that. It's gotta happen on that day. Well, speaking of these runs that you guys have organized with other, I know that you guys had a co-host run with Laker Brewing. Tell me more about what that was like and just how that got started.
Oh, that one was so much fun. Huge shout out to Vanessa. She works at Laker. She actually came to one of our Saturday runs, and Christian and I like to get to know everybody that comes. So we go and we introduce ourselves to everybody, make small talk, get to know them. That way they feel welcome in the club. And after our run, we like to get coffee as well. So we all want to go get coffee. And I was talking to Vanessa, and randomly she just mentioned that she worked at Blaker, and I was like, oh, what if we do like a collab run where we could maybe do like have people get beer after the run. And she's like, yeah, let me talk to my boss and then see if they're okay with doing like a free beer after the run. And that's kind of where the idea started, and it just started snowballing into something bigger. And Christian and a few of the ambassadors and I, we went to Blaker. We drew out the route that I wanted to run around there. And that was the first run where they gave a free 5-ounce beer after the run. And the second run, we actually got interest from KW Recovery Lab here in Turlock to have ice bats there, all complimentary. And then Fleet Fee Modesta wanted to be there as well. So we actually coupled that with our June Mile Challenge. So we challenged members of our run club or non-members to run 50 miles. We made the challenge on Strava. We opened it up to anybody to join. And even if you didn't run the 50 miles, anybody was welcome to that run just to come and celebrate. So that's kind of how that started and how it went.
So you mentioned Strava, and I know I saw it there, and I've been kind of looking a little bit at it, and then Halo too. And can you talk more about what those platforms are about, so people who haven't heard of them can go check them out?
Yeah, so Halo, that's an app that the Mile Chasers let us know about, and it just kind of organizes all our events. So it's a good way, like if you don't know what we have going on, you can say you're interested in going or wanting to go. There's specific message boards for that run, and then you can see who's running. So if you see your friends are going or you see someone that you might know, you can even share pictures. So it's kind of just a way to make everything more organized so you can know, be up to date on our events. And then a couple other run clubs use that one. I know Mile Chasers uses it. So we tried it out and we've liked it. It's been a good way for us to keep people posted. And if anything ever changes, like if we cancel last minute or if we have to make an announcement, we can just send it to Halo and everybody will know right away. And then as far as Strava goes, it's kind of like a mix between a social media and a running app. So Alfredo put it together, but it's a way for you to share your runs with people, and everyone can kind of see your progress. So I feel like it was a way to keep everyone motivated, so you can see who's running and how they're running, and that's kind of how a lot of people started wanting to do that 5:30 a.m. run.
Mm-hmm.
Well, especially when it gets really hot, I think that it's worth waking up at 5 in the morning. That's as cool as it gets.
Just saw that everybody was running at 5:30. They were like, "Hey, let's just run together," and so that's how they started running.
I think they started with 3 people, and now last run they had 10. So it's growing. There's people that want to run at 5:30 a.m.
It gets you motivated, right? If you tell someone hey, I'm gonna wake up and run. If you don't make it, then they're gonna talk about you, right? And be like, oh, what happened? You didn't wake up. But yeah, no, it's awesome that there's those different apps. I mean, I didn't really know about them until recently. So I'm glad that, again, Mile Chasers helped you guys out, let you guys know about that app, and more people can actually go on there and be more focused, right? Because I feel like with the other social media apps, people get easily distracted, and then it's a post gets missed, a group message gets missed, and then people miss out on that. So glad you guys are on there. Well, I know there might be a lot of people listening right now that maybe aren't into running, or maybe are considering now after hearing you guys and your guys' story, maybe to like get into running, whether it's joining the club or if they're out somewhere else, maybe join Mile Chasers or another club. What are some tips that you guys have for anyone getting starting with that run? And let's go first with Alfredo.
Tips about getting into running?
Yeah.
I would say take it slow and be patient with your body. I know I said that there's quick progress in running at the beginning, but I feel like I put that way into much simpler terms than what it actually means. It takes patience. Don't try to run every single run at your 100%. Slow it down, run at a pace where you can hold the conversation at. That's what I would say with starting off. Think about what you eat before you run. I don't eat, if I'm going to run, let's say at 4 p.m., I stop eating at 1 p.m. I don't eat like tomato sauce or like hot foods. So just keep that in the back of your head. And yeah, I mean, like I said at the beginning, just be patient. It's quick progress, but it's progress that you have to be mentally prepared for.
And then just tying everything kind of to our club, we say all paces welcome. For all of our runs, we have everybody at different paces. So the thing is, we also want you don't have to run alone. We have people that run, super fast, super slow. And then we even have a walking group for Thursdays. And then for the track, we're all so close to each other, you never feel alone. So you'll find someone that's your skill level. And then, if you can't run fast, run slow. You can't run, walk. And, just as long as you're out there, to me, that's already, you've already won. So that's the thing, just it's all, you're not racing anybody. It's all with you. And then, and it's always fun to meet someone going through the same thing as you. And that just keeps you motivated to keep coming back, I feel like. And that's why we've had a lot of people that I feel like, I know Alex, for example, he says he used to run, 10 years ago or something, and then he stopped, and he's been running with us all the time, and he's gotten so like faster, and he's really improved. And that's cool to see people that have started like not really good runners, and they're slowly becoming like really good runners. It's kind of cool to see.
Yeah, it's that progression that we talked about earlier, right? Like you see it over time, and even just getting back to it, you feel that same just excitement, right? To beat your records and and just see that improvement over time. So that's really great. But I also want to ask you guys, because I was looking at the link that you guys have on your Instagram page and saw that you guys have a Spotify playlist that members add to it. That just tell me how that idea got started, because I know as a runner, you got to have music.
So with that idea, before we ran, I was just playing music off of my phone. And I was like, I don't know if people are like vibing to it. Like I was feeling self-conscious. Like, I don't know, are people enjoying it? So we just dropped it on the chat, and I was like, hey, I'm going to make a Spotify playlist, add whatever songs you want in there. And it's a good little mix in there. It's funny when you're running and you're hearing a reggaeton song and then it switches to a rock song. But it's cool to get everybody's music flavors in there.
Yeah, no, that's really awesome. You get that collaboration going on, and people adding music too, and it's nice to have different genres, right? Because at the end of the day, if it's the song that's gonna get you motivated to keep going, then that's all that matters, right? Is getting that song that's gonna help you, just strive to beat your old record, because that's what when you're out there, when you're out doing a race and all that. I know that's a good motivator, is to have good music going on too.
I know. I think one of our first runs at Stan State, Alfredo brought this little speaker, maybe about this big. It was like a small little square, and he was like, "You think people like the music?" And I was like, "Honestly, I couldn't tell you. I don't even know. I can't even hear
it." Well, they're still running, so I guess that's a good sign.
Right. The playlist helped.
Yeah. No, I'm glad, because I mean, people have different music and all that, but if people are open to like, hey, I'll listen to whatever, and people can add their own, songs and all that, and you just keep the playlist going. It's great to have your own thing, and I think it lets you see who adds a song, right? I'm trying to remember because I think I've done playlists before, right? So it lets you see who adds a song.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay, so you guys can go back and be like, who put this?
Yeah. Speaking of that little square speaker, I still get made fun of because I was always playing Kid Cudi.
Oh, okay.
So there's still jokes there every single run.
So would you run with the speaker? Would you just like put it like in the middle of the track or something, or like?
No, I was running and holding it.
Oh, okay.
That was a little tiny thing.
Tell people, hey, if you don't want to hear it, you better like just start sprinting or start walking, whatever you want. But tell me around there too. But no, I'm really glad that you guys run mostly like around tracks, because going back to what Christian was saying, like it's nice to be able to be at different paces, but still know that, you know, someone's gonna eventually be around you. You know, they're a fast runner and they're just like passing by again, but they'll be there too. And I'm sure like encouraging everyone, just like I'm sure you guys have experienced when you're out doing races, how people that you don't even know sometimes, like they'll see you sometimes maybe get a little slower, right? Because it happens, you know, to everyone in a race. You get into those moments, just as Alfredo was saying earlier, right, where you feel like, I don't know if I could keep going, right? But you know, all it takes is like just that one stranger passing by telling you like, hey, keep going, you got this, you know, to like just amp you up, right? Have you guys had those like stories happen to you when you're out there doing a race?
Yeah, definitely. Or actually, I want Christian to tell his story first about one of our run club members, David. When you guys were pacing each other, and that's how you guys met, and then he started coming to the run club because he met you.
Oh, there's a story.
I'm blanking.
David Myers.
So the Modesto Marathon, we ran together pretty much the whole race. We never met each other ever. And then it turns out I ended up knowing one of his, I think it's his, it's my friend's fiance's uncle or something like that. And it ended up, so small world, but we ran together the whole race, never met each other. And we were like following each other back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then we get to the finish line and he's like, hey dude, did you end up doing, you know, this time? And I was like, oh, you know, I barely missed it. He's like, oh, me too, by a little bit. And then, you know, we just said what's up to each other. And then from there, and I told him about the club and he's been coming ever since. So yeah, no, shout out David. He has a cool story too. I think he was really overweight, started running, and he did his first full marathon. And same thing with me. I did my first full marathon. So cool. You meet people like that. It's just, you know, very cool.
Wow. Hey, that's I'm over here just saying strangers, but hey, there you go. You those strangers can become friends too, and then you're out there doing races more, which I think it's always fun when you know someone who's out there doing a race. But even for people like myself, who, when I started doing races, like I really didn't know anyone, it's still nice to just go out there and see people supporting you, even people who don't know you, whether they're racing or, I mean, also the people that are out there spectating, right? You know, the people that are cheering you on. Especially, I go back to the Modesto Marathon because I've done the 3 races already, 5K, 10K, half marathon, but it's really amazing to see all the support that you get throughout, right? As you keep going, whether you're, you know, at the starting line in downtown or you're over by the farmlands, like there's people that are just, you know, different points around there just cheering everyone on, not just their friends and family, but anyone who's passing by, and also the volunteers, right? And do you guys like volunteer for races as well? Does the club like go out to a few of them and bring out volunteers?
I think for the last Modesto Marathon, we had a few out there. I know Alexa is one of our ambassadors. She was out there volunteering during the marathon.
So you guys, that's actually a good segue to the ambassador topic that you mentioned earlier. Now you mentioned again there. Tell me more about how that got started. What do they do? And if anyone wants to be an ambassador, like what's the process like?
So it was very unofficial. It was when we first started the run club. We wanted to hear people's feedback on what they wanted to see. So we just posted on our story the little question thing, and we said, "Oh, what do you want to learn about, or what do you want to see from 209 Run Club? Like, what are you interested in? What do you want us to do?" And Alexis actually asked us, "Oh, do you guys need ambassadors? Do you guys need ambassadors to like help with the runs or anything with the run club?" And we hadn't even thought about that, but she luckily messaged us that like on the second day that we started the run club, because it has been such a huge help. We don't have like a formal process. We just once she sent us that message, we posted it on our story and said, "Oh, if you're interested in being an ambassador, reach out to us." And then we started a group chat. But yeah, it's very informal. Right now we have the 8 of us, and I think what's great about that is that everybody has different ideas. Just to name a few, the Tuesday track run was Steph's idea. The Thursday run was Christian. Wednesday run is Alexis. Melissa is actually our treasurer, so she helps out with all of our merch sales and keeping track of the money. And Miramar actually came up with our motto, which is "In it for the long run," and a lot more things that I'm blanking out on. But every single person has done something to elevate the run club, and I think that's what I love about that, about having the ambassadors. And I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of talking a lot right now, but with running, it's a community thing, and you rely on one another. And I feel like our ambassador program reflects that.
Yeah, no, that's really awesome. I'm glad that you guys have people that can help you guys grow and, organize the different races. Because you two can only be at so many places, and little time. So you definitely need the help with any club out there, right? You need people who can, help in different aspects of the club and also grow the club. And so it's nice that you have that. And I'm sure like people are probably located in like different areas, right? Which also helps promote the club and different communities around the 209.
Yeah, definitely. And then also, I don't want to leave out Ricky's been helping out big with our Tuesday runs. He's been leading our track workouts. So now Tuesdays, if you don't want to just jog for 3 miles, he now leads like a circuit kind of track workout. So it's good for speed work, and he's been a big help too. So didn't want to forget about him.
Nice. Yeah, no, like I said, it's just really cool that different people bring in different ideas, like Alfredo was saying, and it's great. That's how you grow any organization, is you have different people that can contribute differently too as well. But one last thing, guys, as far as any future club plans, like, do you guys envision like different things, maybe like doing races? Maybe I know, going back to Mile Chasers, we mentioned they have 2 races that they have going on. I think they want to do a marathon at some point in Stockton. But do you guys have any ideas, or do you have things that are already also like planned for the future, like any future collaborations?
So for this Saturday, we're actually collaborating with Stan County Youth Empowerment Program. I don't know when this is going to air, but it'll be on July 27th. We're going to meet at the Virginia Trail. I feel like that'll be a very cool collaboration. If anybody's, afraid of coming out or intimidated, there's going to be an actual walk club there. But you shouldn't even be intimidated to come out to run with us, because like as Christian said, it's all paces welcome. But there'll be free coffee after. We also have a collab run coming up on August 25th. We're still working on the details for that one, but it'll include a mile challenge for August as well. And I know that we started having some talks about an anniversary run. So next March, we're already starting to plan that out. But yeah, that's kind of what we have on the books. Maybe Christian can say some other things that I forgot.
I think we have a trail run coming up with Mile Chasers.
Oh yeah, that too.
So that'll be a cool, if you don't like running on the street all the time, or how we normally do that. It's a cool little trail run, and it's kind of a cool collab between different clubs. You can kind of see how we run things, but that'll be a fun one to come out to as well. And then we always have something in the works. So then we always try to have some sort of perks, whether it's like free ice baths or free coffee, or just the chance to get to hang out. Just keep a lookout, and we always got something for the community. And most of the time we're doing it looking out for everybody. We're trying to have you have some fun, come out and maybe get something from it.
That trail run sounds awesome. Now I got asked, where is it going to be at?
Ripon, that Stan County River Trail.
Nice. I was just going to say, like, I'm assuming it'll probably be like a midway point, right? If it's a collaboration, what better than a midway point between Stockton and Modesto for both. Well, that should be awesome. Looking forward to that. You guys feel free to let me know once, you guys post more about that so we can get it shared and invite more people to check it out wherever they live at, because it's conveniently for both people, right? Whether you're in San Joaquin or Stanislaus County, I mean, it's a great midway point for people to get to know more about either club. I mean, both clubs ideally, and just join both would be nice. But if you live closer to one club, then actually, be able to go and see what they have going on. So cool.
And you're
All
more
right.
than welcome to join us at any point. Feel free anytime.
Oh yeah, I'm planning on it too. I'm not gonna do the marathon next year. I was gonna do the Modesto Marathon, but after this year, I'm taking a year of more training too, because just as Alfredo mentioned, it really takes a toll on you, and you really learn to realize that you've got to do a lot more training for those things. So, but yeah, I think it's great, like I said, that you guys have this going on, because a lot of people like myself, we didn't really have any guidance. I mean, you guys also, you guys know what that's like. And it's great to know that there's a club out there that, welcomes everyone to join, that is also free as well, right? Because oftentimes you find that clubs might charge. Not that there's anything wrong with charging, but there's people that sometimes can't really commit to paying, right? So it's great to, be able to have that option for people. And I know it's a lot more work to make it free, but just shout out to you guys for doing that for people and getting people more in tune with running, because as I mentioned earlier, it's not just the physical aspect of it, but it's also the mental aspect, right? There's a lot of benefits that you get from running, and then also just meet other people. And just as you guys know, I'm sure you guys have met a lot more people now that you have the running club than you did before, and then they bring more people, and before you know it, you have a lot of people, and now you're looking for more ambassadors to take over, right? Because you're like, well, we can only do so many races and accommodate so many people, that now we're having to do more. So
yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that the inclusive part of the running club. I personally have heard people say that they like how we're diverse and we're inclusive and that everybody's welcome. So we pride ourselves on that, for sure.
Oh yeah, no, that's another factor for sure with any club out there, right? People might not feel like it's for them. So I'm glad that you guys have that, and hopefully we have more and more clubs, not just running, but just in general throughout that. Just let people know that, hey, we're open to anyone joining. It doesn't matter who you are, you can join and meet people and get to do what everyone loves to do, which in this case is running. So. And not just that, but also maybe if you're not into running, maybe you can get into running just going to a club meeting and hearing everyone else's stories as well. But one last thing, actually, with you guys too, if you guys could just let the audience know where people can follow you guys at on social media and also the apps again that we mentioned earlier.
Yeah, so our Instagram is 209 Run Club. The link to our Halo is on the Instagram link tree. And then Strava, if you just type in 209 Run Club, it'll pop up on there as well.
Awesome. Easier for people to find. Quick name. I'm glad that you guys took over that name because people can't forget that name, right? It's very easy. If you're from the 209 and you're looking for a run club, then there you go, 209 Run Club. So easy for everyone to remember and follow on all the different applications out there. Awesome. Well, Alfredo, Christian, this has been really awesome. Hopefully, we get more people going out there. Like I said, I will actually make it out to one of the runs that you guys do. And, hopefully we get more people joining the club and getting into running, because like I just keep saying over and over again, there's so many benefits from it. And I'm glad that you guys are out there promoting it and getting more people to experience what it's like to, run with other people and also do races, because it's a feeling unlike quite other to be out there race day and getting ready to, get as good time as you can.
Yeah, we actually make teams for some races as well. I know the one that's coming up, the Peace Officers Memorial Run. We made a team for that one. So if anybody's looking to register and they want to be part of a team, just when you register, click on 209 Run Club and then shoot us a message.
Nice. All right. Well, again, thank you guys. This has been awesome. And also thank you to everyone who's listened to this podcast or watched it as well, because As you guys know, we now have the podcast recordings on video. Again, if you want to listen to other shows, if you want to watch other shows, check out the website, the209journey.com, and then also follow the social media pages at the 209 Journey on Facebook and Instagram. I actually just passed 600 followers, and as you guys know, my goal is to get to 1,000 followers by the end of the year for the 209 Journey on Instagram. So if you guys could give that page a follow, that would be awesome. I'm planning on doing more lives. Whenever I go out to run, I'll hop on and do an Instagram live there as well. So if you guys want to check out those lives and also find out when new episodes get posted, that's the place that I usually go to right away to post the new episodes when they are released, and also to share the reel clips that I've been sharing. Now, not all episodes have that because it is a feature that I actually have on this platform that I'm using now that helps me auto-generate some of those. But it's been doing good for the most part. So I hope it keeps being that way, because I know people enjoy seeing those teaser clips that I share whenever a new episode gets posted, so you guys can see what the video is like if you haven't seen a video version of the podcast yet. But of course, the audio version will always be there again for anyone who prefers to listen rather than watch the episodes. But with that being said, y'all, have a good morning, good night, wherever you're listening to this or watching. And you'll hear me in a few days here on the 209 Journey podcast.